You're about to witness the slaps where consciousness evaporated in milliseconds, where massive physical advantages meant nothing, and where legends were born with a single devastating blow. These are the most shocking, jaw-dropping knockouts in power slap that left commentators speechless and millions of viewers worldwide in disbelief. Prepare yourself for the bone-rattling impacts, physics-defying falls, and the kind of raw power that can only be fully understood when you see its effects with your own eyes. Number 10. Russell Rivero versus Bear Bennett. The match began with controversy. After Rivero's initial attempt, the officials called a foul on Bennett for flinching, a moment that would prove fateful. Given another opportunity, Rivero prepared to capitalize, but appeared to injure himself in the process. The cameras caught him grimacing, clutching his elbow area as he prepared for his second attempt. Commentators noted, "Russell Rivero is the person I would least like to take a slap off," sensing what was about to unfold despite his apparent injury. As the countdown reached its conclusion, Rivero unleashed a human sledgehammer. Bennett plummeted to the canvas, completely disconnected from consciousness. But as impressive as Hawaiian power can be, it pales in comparison to what happened when our next competitor faced a seemingly unmovable object. Number 9. Luke Simons versus Cesar Gonzalez. The psychological warfare began long before the first slap was thrown when Luke the Predator Simons faced Cesar Gonzalez. Simons' corner set the tone with aggressive trash talk, shouting, "Let him know he ain't got nothing for you," a statement that would prove prophetic. After winning the coin toss, Simons elected to receive first, a calculated gamble that would test his legendary chin. When Gonzalez delivered his best shot, Simons took it with stone-cold composure, not just remaining standing, but actually laughing it off. As Simons prepared to deliver his return fire, a stepping foul from Gonzalez only delayed the inevitable. 1 point was deducted, but the real penalty was yet to come. When Simons finally got his clean shot, what followed was pure devastation. The impact was so catastrophic that Gonzalez was instantly rendered unconscious, sleeping, as the commentators vividly described it. As impressive as that was, our next knockout proves that sometimes raw physical dominance transcends mind games. Number 8. The Hawaiian versus Vildanov. When Dane the Hawaiian hitman Fiernes faced Russian competitor Vildanov, it set the stage for an international clash of titans that would end in one of the most shocking collapses ever seen in the sport. The early exchanges favored Vildanov, who landed a shot that visibly wobbled Fiernes. The commentators noted that Hawaiian was too busy talking, too busy trying to be a showman, a momentary lapse in focus that nearly cost him the match. Blood began pouring from Fiernes' nose, but somehow he managed to stay upright. With less than 38 seconds remaining, both men prepared for the final exchange. When Fiernes finally unleashed his return fire, something out of a physics textbook followed. Vildanov didn't just fall, he collapsed with such suddenness that the designated catchers had no chance to break his fall. From Hawaiian dominance to Romanian precision, our next knockout demonstrates the global reach of power slap's shocking moments. Number 7. Ryan Wallace versus Sorin Kamsa. When Romanian sensation Sorin Kamsa faced Coach Chris's number 1 pick Ryan Wallace, it was more than just a match. It was a clash of styles and philosophies that would end at one of the most devastating finishes in the sport's history. The first round saw Wallace land a respectable shot that clearly affected Kamsa. When Wallace stepped up for his second attempt, a stepping foul cost him a point. But the real punishment would come from his opponent. As Kamsa prepared to deliver his response, the tension in the arena was palpable. The countdown reached its conclusion, and what followed was pure technical perfection. The impact was so devastating that Wallace was instantly unconscious. 2, 3, fight's over, as the referee immediately recognized the finality of the situation. But wait, our next knockout proves that sometimes the most shocking moments come from technical mistakes rather than perfect execution. Number 6. Miles Jackson versus Brian Ellis. When Miles Jackson faced Brian Ellis, no one could have predicted the controversial ending that would have fans debating for months. Ellis, clearly confident in his power, declared, "First one, no need to go round 2. When Ellis finally got his opportunity to strike, he delivered what commentators described as arguably the hardest hit we've ever had, a statement they immediately corrected to 100% not arguably. The impact was so devastating that Jackson's forehead hit the table so hard he collapsed unconscious. But powerslap's strict technical rules changed everything. Officials immediately called a stepping foul on Ellis, but for our next competitor, playing by the rules delivered equally devastating results. Number 5. Scott versus Trujillo. The first round of this match established Scott's legendary chin as he absorbed Trujillo's opening salvo with a grimace, but remained upright. When Scott delivered his return fire in round 2, he utilized an unorthodox low windup, almost all the way to the floor. Despite this technical creativity, Trujillo absorbed the shot, staring Scott directly in the eyes afterwards. In round 3, Trujillo delivered the brutal slap that Scott was instantly rendered unconscious, the first knockout of the night. For Scott, this represented back-to-back knockout losses, a devastating realization as he slowly came back to consciousness, confused and disoriented. But as dramatic as technical precision can be, our next knockout demonstrates that sometimes pure speed is the most shocking weapon. Number 4. Muniz versus Webster. The setup of this fight was fascinating from a strategic perspective. Webster won the coin toss and elected to receive first, a decision that reflected his confidence in his chin and ability to absorb punishment. The gamble was simple: take Muniz's best shot, then deliver the knockout blow as the last strike of the round. It was a sound strategy in theory. In practice, it proved catastrophically flawed. When Muniz stepped up for his opening strike, Webster had barely completed his measurement when disaster struck. The impact was so immediate and devastating that Webster collapsed instantly. "He's out!" erupted from the commentary team as medical staff rushed in. What made this knockout particularly shocking was not just its brutality, but its swiftness. But as quick as this knockout was, our next entry shows that true power transcends speed. Number 3. Vallo versus Vacamilalo. When Cody Vallo faced Kalani Vacamilalo, it was a clash between two physically imposing specimens that would end at one of the most visually shocking knockouts in combat sports history. When Vacamilalo delivered his strike, the impact was so devastating that the audience audibly gasped. Vallo didn't just go down, he went down and out with such violence that one commentator could only describe it as disgusting. The slow-motion replay revealed the true horror of the impact, the ripples of force traveling through Vallo's face, the immediate loss of consciousness, and the controlled fall as catchers rushed to prevent further injury. But as impressive as newcomer power can be, our next striker shows that sometimes even the mightiest can fall. Number 2. The Hawaiian versus Vacamilalo. When Dane the Hawaiian hitman Fiernes faced Kalani Vacamilalo, it was a collision between two forces of nature, a nearly 400-pound Hawaiian powerhouse against a former football player with devastating technical precision. The early exchanges established a concerning pattern for Fiernes. After suffering damage to his left arm, he decided to switch hands, but this proved to be worse for Vacamilalo. When he delivered his strike, what followed was nothing short of cataclysmic. The impact was so devastating that Vacamilalo's massive frame collapsed instantly, leaving the designated catchers scrambling to get up under his arms as he fell. But no knockout, however devastating, compares to our number 1 spot. Number 1. Chris Thomas versus Emmanuel Muniz. Championship fights carry a different weight and tension, especially when they stretch into the later rounds. When defending welterweight champion Chris Thomas faced challenger Emmanuel Muniz in the 5th and final round. The match had been contentious from the start, with both men absorbing tremendous punishment. By the 5th round, the fouls had become a major storyline, with Thomas accumulating multiple clubbing fouls that jeopardized his title reign. With everything on the line, both men prepared for what would be the final challenge. When Muniz delivered his strike, the impact was so catastrophic that Thomas collapsed immediately. A clean, decisive finish that left no doubt about the new champion. "We have a new welterweight champion," erupted from the commentary team as Thomas lay motionless on the canvas. Which knockout did you find most devastating? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more of the most explosive moments in combat sports history.